Hey, greetings everyone. Hey, how you doing? It's Matt Sella. Today I will be doing a spoiler review for Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, originally I was gonna do kind of a spoiler-free for the first half discussion kind of thing, and then warn to go into spoilers later, but I think the setup of this film banks off the events of Avengers Endgame, so if you have not seen that movie, then bear in mind, spoilers for both Endgame and Far From Home. You have been warned. You ready? Here we go. So after the events of Avengers Endgame, we kind of break down of what is a fallout and what happened with the reverse snap of the world. My wonder is what happens with those who return after the 5-year jump, come back at the same age where 5 years have passed after they were dusted? This film addresses that exactly. But as far as I could tell, it either banks on it as a joke or kind of explains where new characters come from. It didn't bother me one bit at all, mind you. I'm just glad MJ, Ned, and the bully nerd guy, I forget his name, and a few other classmates, they were all returned along with Peter. Otherwise, if they aged 5 years in contrast to Peter, I don't know, I think that would have been a little awkward. Nonetheless, it has a weird name now, The Blip, which sounds kind of trendy in my opinion, but whatever. Life goes on for these kids at high school. I'm really glad they're kind of abandoning this whole secret identity thing, and didn't make it a big tension between Aunt May and Peter as Spider-Man. In the world of the MCU thus far, it seems more like an honor, and most of the world holds anyone an affiliate of the Avengers in high regard, for the most part. I actually like how campy and John Hughes this film really was, especially compared to Spider-Man Homecoming. The music, the tone, everything, it really added to that kind of like a family comedy vibe. And as an old man, I really don't care for these coming-of-age stories or teen drama BS, but the way they humanize this fantastical story and how organic yet quirky the characters acted made it endearing to me. I actually cared about Peter's ventures to tell MJ he likes her and doesn't weep or elaborate his intentions. It just comes across as pure, innocent, and to the point. It felt like something he had to do and had to do it right and was ready to take on whatever would come after. Granted, if it didn't have the superhero element I like, then I'd probably be more biased against it. But even without the humor, it was good, felt fresh and fun. Nothing that stands out too much, but this film had me chuckling quite a few times. More spoiler talk is Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. The sad fact is, I knew in the comics he was one of Spider-Man's villains, so when I first saw the trailer of Mysterio helping Spider-Man, I knew it was probably an illusion, because that's what Mysterio's is all about. Illusions! So with the way the first half of the film was going, I was waiting for his turn to go to the dark side, to go behind the curtain and reveal his intentions. What's funny is, before seeing this movie, folks were really saying that this movie will introduce the multiverse, because that's kind of the basis of the premise of where Mysterio came from. And part of me was thinking, yeah, I don't know, I guess if you want to expand the MCU more and introduce that, sure, but I'm kind of skeptical. Surprise, surprise, I'm skeptical about everything. So when Mysterio turned into what I was expecting, I guess the multiverse thing is actually not a thing, at least not yet. However, I did not expect him to give his entire plan of deception. I think that was the biggest problem for me, was at that moment, I felt like the writers really wanted to dump all the information on me. And I'll admit, the monologue montage, how every aspect of him creating this elemental illusion with flashbacks and ties felt a little campy for me, and not quite in a good way. I think I would have liked it better if the information was revealed more gradually, even if it was all done within like 15 to 20 minutes from there. Either way, it was expected and I wish I didn't see that coming, but if you have a hint of the comic book lore, there's really no surprise there. Although Mysterio's plan was a bit flawed in my mind, also didn't get how Fury couldn't dig up info on Mysterio's connections with Stark Tech. Then again, the post-credits scene kinda explains that with the Skrulls. One could argue that maybe he was just another man from another Earth where he did work for Stark, but not this Earth Stark. But based off how he revealed his plan, it was just an elaborate intention so I don't know if I see enough evidence for a multiverse. It's a little hard to tell what was real and what was not. I'm always assuming after his reveal that all of it is pretty much planned fantasy. Was simply staged. That's a better way to put it. Still, it actually didn't really bother me much. Nonetheless, I felt Mysterio's overall plan was a bit convoluted, where I kind of got the Incredible Syndrome vibe for it, where he wanted to appear as a hero to the world. But at the same time, I think the curtain would have been pulled eventually, especially with how many heroes there are and alien technology, practically limitless, Earth has already been exposed to. Maybe I'm overthinking it, no surprise there. I just feel like this would be a ruse he could not keep up for long. Not with the amount of eyes he was really trying to draw upon himself. Maybe he was just crazy, who knows. Still, it didn't really bother me that much at all. He was just another villain indirectly created by Tony Stark, again. But if you're a multi-billion-dollar weapon and tech inventor, shadows of your intent will breed envy and malice. He was just a tool to drive the story, as for most previous villains in the MCU, at least earlier MCU films. Definitely comes across as of not quite the most psychotic, but I really think it was all about Peter dealing with the death of Tony Stark, his mentor, into pushing the kid to become more like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Not as the next Iron Man per se. I think there was a good message there, and bringing on MJ, Ned, and Aunt May into knowing Peter Parker is Spider-Man helps minimize future stories that rely on misunderstanding plot tropes. I really hate those, they're so cliche and dumb. One big thing I will mention is during the mid-credit scene, I had not had quite a big smile on my face until I saw J.K. Simmons return as J. Jonah Jameson. I was thrilled when I saw that, and reminded me back when the late great John Schnepp and John Campea would converse on their show about if they're gonna reboot a franchise, reboot everything, even the cast. All cast and very few actors could be the exception to the rule. Examples would be like James Earl Jones as Mufasa, and for this case, J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. And when they said that, I wholeheartedly agreed. I know right now it's not quite clear if it's just like a fun little Easter egg, or in fact J.K. Simmons will be playing Jameson in the future for Tom Holland's Spider-Man films. But hey, I'm all up for it. I really hope they'll go with it. My rating overall is I was very entertained by this movie. I really liked it. I did not love it, for it didn't really have enough surprises or narrative-wise do anything new for me, but I still had fun. Felt for a lot of the characters, for what they were going through. I was entertained. That's all I asked for at the very least. And that'll do it for my spoiler review. Let me know, what did you think of the movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Share your thoughts. Join the conversation in the comment section below. And if you enjoy content just like this, please consider going to my Patreon at patreon.com/Matt Sella. Consider supporting me by donating as little as $1 a month. It will help go towards my podcast, animation, art, and all kinds of content made just for you. Hey, alright everyone, this is Matt Sella signing off and thanking you all for tuning in.